welcome to the Being a Dad on Purpose podcast. I am your host, Bobby Benavides, and I'm excited to be with you today. No interview today, just me talking, just to kind of help you guys understand where I'm going with the podcast and what I'm doing. I'm going to give a little 15-minute, maybe 10-minute conversation around got my fake books behind me, but around reading to your kids. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. But right now, I just want to go ahead and just say, thank you for all of you who are listening. Thank you for all who have started to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you for being a part of this community. You see, being a dad on purpose is made so that way we can encourage dads. I want to encourage dads. I want to make sure that we're being encouraged, because honestly, sometimes we have been told that we have to just carry it all. We don't have any real support system necessarily, or sometimes we have a support system, but it's kind of like we don't want to confess that we're struggling or that we're having issues or whatever. And I just want this to be a community of people who are growing together in their fatherhood journey, whether you are a seasoned veteran dad, right, who has older kids, or you're a new dad who has your very first child that you're holding right now, right? I want this group, I want this community of Being a Dad on Purpose to be encouraging you, to be challenging you, to be supporting you, to be helping you in the process. And so, again, you're going to make this what you want to make it, and you want to be a part of this. Awesome. But I can't make this be anything other than what you want it to be. So if you want to hear and listen about specific topics, let me know. If you want to be a guest on the show about something, let's talk, because I'd love to have you as a guest. I'd love to talk about things with dads and encourage you here on the podcast. Again, we are doing this video and on podcast recording, so you can listen to it on your phone, or you could watch the video on YouTube. But that's just where it's at. You see, I'm not. I'm a dad. I have a group of 4 kids, right? A group of 4. I have a family of 4, right? 4 kids. I have my wife. I have my oldest son, who is 8, my daughter, who's 5, my other son, who is 3, and then we have our newborn that is a little over 4 months, right? And it's a journey. It's hard. It's difficult. It's fun. It's exciting. It could be overwhelming, right? And sometimes we don't want to admit the things that we're wrestling with. Sometimes we don't want to admit that, man, we just need a breather. Sometimes we don't want to admit that we are overwhelmed. We don't want to admit that we're struggling, because if we do, it may seem like we're weak. It may seem like we're not good dads. It may seem, which I've been there. I've been there. So these are all things that I've dealt with. I know what it's like, where I don't feel adequate. I don't feel like maybe I haven't had the best dad in the world growing up, and so I'm trying to be something different. I wonder what it's like to be. I want to be a good dad. I want to make sure that I'm raising my kids well. I also want to be supportive of my wife, right? And if you don't have a wife and you have a girlfriend, you want to be supportive of her. And if you don't have that, you just have a mother of your child. Your children need to see you supporting that woman, right? No matter how difficult it may be, you're still supposed to be an encourager and trying to figure out how to support that, right? Um, so for me, I just want you to know this is who we are at Being a Dad on Purpose. You see, I'm just really a dad just trying to help other dads, and I want other dads to get involved with helping other dads. That's what we want to do. So with that, I'm going to go on to talk about reading. Now, it's this, okay, so why talk about reading, right? Because some dads just aren't readers. We don't like to read. I love reading. I love to I these are fake books, but I have 2 bookshelves next to me, and I have big containers full of books, and I have a closet full of books, and I dream of an office where I can have a bookshelf that's real, like what I see behind me. But I love to read. Not all dads like to read, but it is essential for us to be reading to our children. So why? Well, it's brain development, right? We know that. It's all about brain development. It's all about being connected with your children, especially when they're younger. We always talk about kids being, so connected to their moms, and they're if the mom was primarily breastfeeding, then of course they have that connection. And if you have this whole thing of where they cry to mom, they find the emotional support from mom, which we'll talk about that some other time. But We have to be finding ways to connect and bond with our children. We can watch TV, we can enjoy Bluey, right? We can enjoy playing games, we could wrestle around with them. That's awesome. But we also want them to be learners. We want our kids to be growing up to be learners and challenge them in their learning. So find time to read to them, whether it's before bed, whether it's just, it doesn't even have to be a big book, right? You don't have to have a big book. My kids right now, they're loving at bedtime. My wife started reading Matilda to them, and now I've been reading. We kind of switch off, but like most of the time it's her because sometimes it's like I'm taking care of the baby. But if I'm putting them to bed, sometimes I'll come up with I'll read the Matilda book, or I'll come up with my own story. And I love being creative and bringing about an idea of creativity and imagination. So I started telling them a story about Princess Pepper, right? And and I don't even know where that came from, but Princess Pepper and her brother Prince. Man, I can't remember now, but that's what happens, right? I just come up with a story and then I start speaking, and that's where it's at. I do know that the king's name is King Kaleidoscope, and they love that. I don't, yeah, that's it. So, but I love developing that creativity. So, why am I talking about reading besides the fact that we know that it's brain development? Why is it, connecting with the parents or connecting with the kids? Because starting next month, February, I'm going to really be intentional about creating a segment in our podcast. And in the segments, once a month, probably at the beginning of the month, I'll be doing a book review for a children's book, along with an interview of somebody or just me talking, but having a 10-minute, 5-10 minute book review around a children's book, one that I would recommend to you to read to your kids. And this is a shameless plug, but as my podcast, I can do what I want. I'm writing my first children's book. My first children's book should be coming out hopefully in the fall if everything works out right. So that'll be exciting too, because then I'll share that with you here, and you'll have first access to it, which will be fun. And you'll be able to get into part of a group and all that stuff. It's gonna be a good time. But anyway, just wait for that. But we're gonna be reviewing children's books and talking about those. I'm gonna be having a. You heard my conversation if you listened to last week's. It's about with Jim Urin talking about financial responsibility, budgeting. He has agreed that once a month he's going to come on and do a little segment around financial security and responsibility. And so you can ask me questions on our Facebook page, send me an email, do something, but you can talk. You can talk to me about or ask me about some financial questions, and I will shoot them to Jim, and then he'll come on and he will share once a month some information around, whether it's investing, saving, college planning, retirement, you know, canceling debt, all that stuff. We'll be talking about those things. I'm going to talk to I'm trying to find well, I'm not trying to find, I've spoken to a couple pediatricians who may come on and do some medical conversations around things that maybe we should be expecting when we are expecting newborns, things in the toddler stages, things in the teenage stages. I'm going to have some tech in at the end of the month, hopefully, if everything works out right. I'm hoping this is going to work out right too, that I'll be having somebody come on talking about apps that are out there for brain development for kids, but then also ways to be prepared and aware of the apps that are on the phones and iPads and Kindle Fires and all that stuff that your kids might be watching. YouTube channels that might be out there that you should be aware of that are dangerous for kids, and things that maybe are great for kids. You're going to talking about all those things. So these things are coming, right? We need to be prepared. We need to know what we're talking about, and we need to be, as dads, engaged as much as possible in that process. So these are the things that are coming. Reading is a primary piece of being a dad. We may not be big book readers, and that's okay, right? That's okay. But you need to be encouraging your kids to read, because it's essential. It's essential for them and their brain development and their encouragement for school, their desire to learn. You want them to want to learn. They may not be big book readers when they get older, but at least they'll have a desire to learn. And that's really the big piece of it all. So with that, I'm going to end this. It's a quick one. I know we're not I'm not doing a big interview. I just want to give you an idea of what's coming for this year. And as we go forward, with the Being a Dad on Purpose podcast and the YouTube channel that you are watching right now. There's going to be some great stuff happening. And as time goes on, who knows what this is going to end up being. And I'm hoping that I can offer some giveaways. We do have our Being a Dad on Purpose swag that you can get. That store is going to be reopening at the end of the month, where you can go on and buy some mugs and shirts and that kind of stuff. It'll be fun. Getting some other items made. And yeah, this is a good time. I'm excited. Again, thank you for listening. Thank you for joining. Thank you for subscribing. I'm hoping that you're getting encouraged and challenged, and that you might be learning some stuff as we go along. But again, I'd love to hear feedback. Give me a message, shoot me something, and I would love to talk more. So with that, again, thanks for listening to Being a Dad on Purpose. I am your host, Bobby Benavides, and I cannot wait to see what's going to happen in 2021 with this right here and for you in your journey as a dad. So have a great day, night, whatever, whenever you're listening to this. I don't know, whenever you're watching this, but it's good talking to you. Bye.